of 774 repentant, in quotes, terrorists. The federal government says this is under Operation Safe Corridor. These 774 persons were trained in vocational skills for 24 weeks in Gombe, and now they are being released to society, being reintegrated under DDR, disarmament, demobilization, reintegration. What's your take on this development?
Okay, thank you once again. I want to start by saying that God keeping us alive, by next week I shall be approaching a federal high court to stop this madness. We can't continue like this. In the first instance, you talked about a United Nations resolution. That was a grant or a purported legal framework upon which the army is committing this illegality. In the first instance, we have a law. Under our criminal jurisprudence, we have the Constitution, we have Administration of Criminal Justice Act, and some other various laws. Now, once a crime is committed, our laws are there. Once you are investigated, you'll be charged to court. Once you are charged to court, the only role the federal government have to do is to, through the Attorney General, to discontinue the matter. Either the State Attorney General or the Federal Attorney General, whichever the person that is prosecuting that offense. Once the person has been faced the trial and convicted, the only option for the person is to grant the person amnesty, that's presidential pardon. When the person met the necessary criteria. Now, the representative of Chief of Army Staff during the function said that this thing is not amnesty. Now we ask, what is that? I have a client that mistakenly murdered somebody through a fight. But that young woman has spent over 25 years, as I speak to you now, at Suleja prison. And this is somebody, a particular the same citizen, sacked an entire community in the name of terrorism. The army, our gallant soldiers, risked their life. Some of them even lost their life. Apprehend the terrorism suspects, hand it over to the authority for prosecution. Then after 6 months, they told us that they have been repented and they have been trained that they are going to now integrate into the society. And the representative of Chief of Army Staff was begging the community to accept them back. Now I ask him question again. Which community? The community that is no longer in existence. Now, who are those that receive them? The people that are already in the IDP camp. So this thing must stop. This is, to me, this is an epitome of fraud. Now, I'm also inviting EFCC to check how much that was spent in carrying out this funny process. Now, how many terrorist suspects do we have in the whole federation? How many are in Abuja? How many are in DSSS? Do you apply this to all of them? Now, the same Chief of Army Staff was telling us that most of them were coerced into the crime. Yes, of course. Once an adult is coerced into the crime or you are convinced into the crime, once the crime is committed, it has been committed. When do you now how do you now want to convince us that coercing somebody into a crime has become a defense? In a crime of this nature, we must be serious. So that's why I told you that, I started by telling you that we are going to approach I'm going to approach federal court by next week to stop this particular madness. It must stop.
I'm sure you recognize and understand that in terms of a crime, terrorism is quite complex. It's not as straightforward as your regular crimes. So let me take 2 statements from the United Nations, and I'd like to get your thoughts on this. The United Nations says focusing only on prosecuting and imprisoning suspected terrorists may be insufficient to prevent people who have committed terrorist acts from doing so again following their release. Where there are large numbers of terrorism suspects, there is a risk that criminal justice systems can become overwhelmed. Can Nigeria's criminal justice system sufficiently accommodate the number of terrorists that we have? And also the point around the low-risk terrorists. These are terrorists. We saw earlier this week a 15-year-old, minors, some women who were abducted. Some of these people were kidnapped and radicalized. Would you still take the same position in view of these people? Not the ones, because don't forget their persecutions as well. We talked about the persecutions a few weeks back. About 500 of them were in court. 345 of them were sentenced. So that's what we're looking at. So that there's a context to this. What's your take on that?
Okay, Madam Ayo, don't mix this thing up. Once a minor commits a crime, no matter the level of that crime, you try the minor under juvenile law. That one is a separate ballgame altogether. Now, you are talking about United Nations resolution. United Nations resolution is not automatic. This is a resolution. It's advisory. It is now left for each sovereign state to look at your own peculiar laws, look at your own peculiar circumstances before you now apply it. Now, one, you should check whether that resolution is even in conflict with your own law. If it is in conflict with your own law, it cannot be applied. That one is one. Then two, if you must apply it, there must be amendment, legislative amendment on that particular issue. That one is also on that. Then two, you should also check the level of crime. Madam Ayo, last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, how many generals were killed? Yesterday, how many persons were adopted in Benue by all these terrorists? And instead of you to look for a way to address it, you are busy reintegrating people into the system. I'm assuring you they are creating more harm than good, because those people, okay, Madam, have you think about that boy that lost the father and the mother? That man that lost the entire family. And you are now reintegrating the person in the same community, and you want the person to be watching the person. They are creating, this thing is creating more harm than good, and we should stop it. In the first instance, United Nations brought it when the issue of terrorism in a particular nation has come down. Now, the people in the IDP camp on South left IDP camp to the various communities. You can now think about those who committed the act. The victims of this terrorist act, they are still in the IDP camp. And instead of you to think about how to rehabilitate them, instead of you to think about how to make their welfare there, and you are using our hard-earned money to say that you are rehabilitating a criminal under 6 months, it will not stand. We will protest against it.
Able to absorb these people, because don't forget that part of this solution is because of the overwhelming nature of the terrorists. You know, some of these, at least low-risk terrorists, the minors, the younger ones. Can our current justice system accommodate them as correctional services? Do we have enough facilities for them?
We are saying the same thing. The law that established correctional center made provision for all this. Once you are convicted and sentenced, and while you are serving your prison time, there are some skills you are expected to learn. And when you are the prison officials are the people that will say that this person has repented, let the president consider him so that you go back to the society. It takes a process, and you must serve that punishment to an extent. Are you seeing the face of these criminals? These alleged criminals. Look at their face. Under 6 months. Somebody that wiped the entire community, and he was arrested, and these people did not submit themselves. In the university, before the university will consider you must submit yourself. These people were arrested.
You know, just as a point of correction, the army and the spokespeople for the Operation Safe Corridor had said that this group, the group that is considered for, you know, these programs, is not the group that commits mass atrocities. They say that they are the ones who are maybe abducted and forced into indoctrination. Just as a matter of clarity, because you said these people, you know, the faces of these people, they've killed so many people. Just point of correction. They, according to them, I'm not holding brief for them, but their statement says that they specifically target those who are, in essence, victims of circumstance. But still speaking on the point of victims of circumstance, amidst this group, there were 8 foreigners, one from Burkina Faso, one from Cameroon, 2 from Chad, 2 from Niger Republic. I'd just love to get your opinion on that. Should we be rehabilitating foreign nationals? Should we be deporting them? Some would argue that if we deport them, they'll only go back and reintegrate and reinforce themselves with their terrorist cells and maybe give them information and, you know, what should we be doing with the foreigners that are caught? What program is available to them?
No, Vimba, I disagree with you. We are creating a very wrong precedent in this country. Do you know what you are doing? You are now making that as a defense. When you arrest a terrorist or an armed robber,
it's not my defense.
They will just tell you that I was coerced into it.
It's not my defense, sir. I'm just reiterating their position. Yes. Yes. I'm not referring to you. I'm referring to the representative of Chief of Army Staff, who said that most of them were coerced into it. So, in other words, that was the ground upon which you consider them. So, in other words, you also let other people go and commit crime. Immediately they arrest you, tell them that you are coerced into the crime. And I'm telling you that when they force you into the crime, or they convince you into the crime, or they pay you money to join into the crime, once you are an adult and you commit a crime, that should not be a defense. We should get it right.
I am telling you, saying it in the national television, this thing is an epitome of fraud. Because the money used to rehabilitate these people, go to IDP camp. I was in IDP camp during Easter when I went to visit them. Go and see the victims of this terrorism. We can't allow it to stand. EFCC should investigate them. Now, after this one, in the next 6 months, they will get another budget. They will now get another few of them. They will say that, this is an epitome of fraud.
So what...
Dr. Okpara, just a clarification. You kept referring to Chief of Army Staff. That program, Operation Safe Corridor, is under the Defense Headquarters.
Chief of Defense Staff.
Yeah, Defense Headquarters.
Chief of Defense
So
Staff.
it was General Oluyede,
Yes.
who was making the point about
Yes,
winning these people.
And where guys, the
from
Chief
their
of Defense
guilt.
Staff, please.
Chief of Defense Staff, Defense Headquarters, not Army.
Yes.
They have enough on their plates
And where guys,
to worry about. But what do you think about this whole idea? You are very clear about rehabilitation, but you know the basic philosophy by the United Nations in those resolutions that I mentioned earlier is that even terrorists under their counter-terrorism resolutions can still be rehabilitated. But you are saying that in Nigeria, it doesn't make sense. That prosecution should come first under PRR, which is also a United Nations program. But I said earlier on that, does Nigeria even have the capacity to follow the basic protocols before unleashing these persons onto society? Is there something that could be done differently?
Yes. Dr. But we are saying something. United Nations resolution is not binding on every country.
Section 9.
Yes. So when you have the resolution, you now look at your own circumstances. You look at your own law. Can I apply it? This is not the only resolution of the United Nations, for goodness sake. Then when you check, this is not something that we can apply now. The issue of terrorism is on a high side. As I'm talking to you, many people were killed 3 days ago. You don't do the right thing on the wrong time, for goodness sake. What we are saying is that you cannot apply this thing. Okay, now I challenge the representative of the Chief of Defense Staff. Yesterday, when you are talking about this thing is not amnesty, this is an act trying to reduce terrorism. I want to challenge you. Since you apply this particular procedure in Nigeria, tell us the rate of crime the rate of the terrorism when you started it, and the rate of terrorism now. Now you now discover that this thing now is an epitome. This is a means upon which the government are using to encourage people to go into terrorism. Because if you watch the time you started this during Buhari's regime, the thing increased. People were going into terrorism, thinking that this is the means of the way to go about it. And to worsen the situation, our leaders lack the political will to deal with the issue. Because when you have somebody who committed the terrorism offense, what stopped you from following it the way you did that of Nnamdi Kanu? Because that of Nnamdi Kanu, federal government released 4 SN with team of lawyers, and they were having the trial every day. Within the space of 2 months, they have concluded the trial, convict and sentence him. Now, what happened for this particular people that wipe entire community? Send people to IDP camp, made Nigeria to be number 4 now in terrorism nation, and you say that they have been rehabilitated. It can't stand.